Welcome back. Doing a short series here on dicing for clarity and momentum in life. This is a strategy that we actually use with elite performers within the Prestige. It's not an every time kind of thing, but it works particularly well when we find somebody in a coaching process already, and then they start to realize what they initially sought is maybe not as meaningful or important to them as they initially thought. Now they're in a position where we've got a coaching commitment, but what we're running after maybe doesn't have the same pull. So what do? There's uncertainty, there's confusion, and the last thing that we need to do is spend weeks talking about ideas. If you don't know this about yourself, or you're a coach and you're doing this with your clients, give it a second thought. Oftentimes, the problems that we get stuck in, problems that stem from thinking generally do not get solved by thinking. This is a misnomer, and it often devolves the coaching relationship into soft coaching, life coaching, talking about things versus achieving things. If you want to talk, okay, no judgment. If you want outcomes, this video is for you. The last video, the first video in this series, talked about the filter. If you haven't watched it, you have to. It's the first step in this four-step process. Filtering what's meaningful into a point that is actionable. Second step, the roll. That's what we're talking about right now. Rolling the dice for the specific action point. Third, the execution, how you go about it. And fourth, the initiation or the penalty. Each one of these is a critical step in this process. Otherwise, it deteriorates into soft coaching. But what we want is a vehicle that holds us accountable to true value and forces us into a state of momentum running after something truly meaningful. I gave examples in the last video of what that can do, what that looks like. If you're here, hopefully this isn't random or accidental. We've already got our filtered options. I've told you how to do that. If you haven't yet downloaded the filter PDF, we've created a document. It's very short but very poignant. It outlines exactly how we take clients through the thought process of filtering meaningful options before this very step. That needs to come first. It's free. It's down in the description. But here we are. You've got your options, maybe 3 key categories for today's dice roll, and within that, a couple of subcategories that are highly specific, not avoidant directions, like I need to create space, and maybe stop doing this bad activity or something like that, but very specific actionable items oriented around meaning. We have those now. So this step is the fun part. What comes up on the die? Okay, we've already selected meaningful things. This is going to tell us what action to take over the coming 7 days. And it is only 7 days. If you haven't done this before, you're not ready for more than 7. This is not an easy process, but it is fun. It's exciting. So we have our 3 categories. Looking at these 3 categories, I'll give you a few examples for myself. Let's say that I'll pick a few key meaningful categories. Let's say mind, body, performance. Let's pick business, and let's pick passion. So I'll put 1 in each category. For passion, I like the rope dart. I've got my own soft weapons methodology, but I haven't been practicing much in the last few months. For the next 7 days, I could approach this 2 ways. These are just key examples. I could say I'm going to practice it for 30 minutes a day for the next 7 days. That's a process-oriented approach. The other one is going to say I'm going to pick 1 key sequence that today I cannot do, and I have to deliver and perform it within 7 days. There are penalties if I fail, but that makes it an outcome orientation and puts a little bit of pressure on me to actually up-level my skill and not just show up. Okay? Different approaches. For mind-body, I could say, well, I haven't actually nurtured my breath control and I've been a little bit less sensitive. My head has been down. I've been grinding on business. But I can feel a tension in my solar plexus. I need to open myself up a little bit more, be more receptive, more innovative. Okay. Need to test where my current slow breathing is. 10 slowest breaths. How long does it take? I know when I'm in good shape and conscientious about this, an 8-minute plus breath count, which is an advanced level, is a normal state for me. I know that when I'm not performing well, haven't given enough attention, I'm usually 5 to 6 minutes for my slowest 10 breaths. So, going to assess where that is, be honest about it, but I know that I can activate this quickly. I'm either going to get this above 8 minutes within 7 days, outcome orientation, or I'm going to say, it matters more that you're just reconnecting with yourself. So I'm going to do it 3 times a day, every day for the next 7 days. And maybe the outcome is less significant. For the business, let's say that communicating this crazy world of the prestige and applied somatics is something that we struggle with because the world of somatics is rather, no offense, it's narrow and it's oriented around sensational awareness, often toward the domain of trauma healing and being able to release the body of fixed tensions, breathing patterns, ocular focal points, how we tend to orient in the moment so that we're aware and can release the system of held memory. This is fantastic. No judgment against it. But what we do is take it a step farther and we say, yes, meaningful. And also, then what? What are you going to do with it after that? We have 2 frameworks that fit within a coherent model of performance. We are not just doing somatics for the sake of self-awareness and sensory observation and awareness and what's going on in the body. Because you know what? Just because you're aware of something doesn't make it meaningful. I mean, how do you know it's not heartburn? How do you know your intuition isn't fear? There are other layers of development and what we call the architecture that lies beneath awareness that matters more. And that's what we focus on. Why? Because it gives you access not just to healing and centering, but it gives you access into optionality through this quadrant system of focus, awareness, tension and structure, and relaxation. Each one of these has a different characterization, or a somatic skin as we call them. They have the result of an emergent expression of new potential. You can actually express and activate greater range in any moment through these. You might tend to be the sensate who feels a lot. You might tend to be the warrior who charges ahead. You might tend to be the sage who focuses. And these get practiced and patterned so that we don't even recognize that we could merge these and move into different quadrants as we need to. The shapeshifter can become the warrior. The asset can become the sage with conscious command and control. This is the work we do. It's amazing. But we have a problem. The problem is that the current world of somatics doesn't understand this. They don't know the range that's possible. And so maybe my dice roll is to tell somebody about it, like you right now, boom, success early, crushing it, and I didn't even need to roll the die. But these are 3 examples, okay? Maybe I'm going to make a video over the coming week or a video a day communicating the awesomeness of the work that we get to do on the daily basis. Okay, I've got my 3 options. Filtered them, boom. Now the next part is interesting. We don't stipulate what gets what allocation. And an obvious or easy allocation is each one of these. I practice the sash. I practice my slow breathing. I communicate to you lovely folks about the glorious work I get to do. Each one of these gets 2 out of 6 on the die. That's very easy. The first one gets 1 and 2. The second one gets 3 and 4. Obvious, yeah? But there might be nuance here. I might say, well, look, if I'm really assessing these, the most urgent and impactful action to take is actually probably the communication of the brand. I have a hard time with it. People don't quite understand it because the domain itself is, I feel a little bit, it's true, but it's narrow. I need to share this with people. This is meaningful. So maybe I'm going to give it a 3 out of 6 or a 4 out of 6 on the die. Love the sash, but hey, been doing it for 15, 20 years. No longer than that now. Long time. I'm old as hell. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 6. And then the breathing, while it's important, is also something that maybe now that I'm aware of because I created the option, maybe I could just practice it a few times. Maybe I could just bring it back. I don't need to make it all in. Okay, still matters. I'll give it a 1 out of 6. So 2 options have 1 out of 6. 1 option gets 4 out of 6. Okay, now the specifics. I'm going to say that the first die roll, the sash, the second die roll is breathing, and then 3 through 6 are indeed communicating with you lovely folks out in the ether. The amazing work we get to do. Now it's time to roll. Boom. Now this is where things get interesting. A 1. We've just gone through a whole thing together. My brain has worked its magic. I've looked at the things that matter. I've narrowed all the things that matter, from family to hobbies, to crafts, to philanthropy, to taking my pet for a walk, whatever the key categories are. I already narrowed them down to 3, and then with each one of those, I narrowed them down to 1 meaningful action in the direction of this category, but then I filtered them across meaningful probability or outcome, which is my own way of saying these things matter more than those things right now if I'm really thinking about it. Okay, but I rolled a 1. I rolled the sash. Okay, now I'm in this game. We've already talked about the next step is the execution. That's the next video. And the third one is initiation or penalty. I'm going to go into details because those are critical and they matter a lot. But always, when you do this for yourself, and this is a committed practice, this is not just a one-week novelty, we are entering the domain of approaching your own sub-psyche, your consciousness as a game or as a craft. This is interesting. It means I got to show up to this again. There are going to be consequences if I fail. I've just rolled that I need to create a sequence and complete it. Something I can't do today, but I need to achieve it in 7 days. It's going to be hit or miss. We'll talk about consequences later. But this just got a 1 out of 6. And so you're going to notice that in yourself, or if you're a coach doing this with a client, one of two reactions. All right, this is cool. This is interesting. Good target. Might even feel relieved because I didn't have to do that other thing, which is make 7 videos, and maybe I have stage fright. Maybe I don't want to communicate those things, but that was just, it would have been the good thing to do, but I didn't have to roll, so I feel relieved. But there could also be another reaction, which is this. And this is the one I saw with my client last week. As soon as the dice rolled, she gave this option 1 out of 6, just like I had, and rolled it. It was not the one that she wanted. And she went like this. Ugh. Immediately, she just filtered meaning and just, allocated this on the die. And this is an exciting thing. Like, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. The ether is going to select this option for me. Boom, roll. Okay, I didn't want to do that. And this is where the game gets exciting. Because one of two things is going to happen over the next 7 days. I'm going to find myself butting up against a target that was conceptual, but maybe I didn't really need or want. And I'm going to realize it didn't matter to me as much as I think it did. The benefit of this is obvious. Great. Don't put it on the dice again, and I have just taken one step farther toward approaching meaning and driving direction in my own life. It's not only finding things that matter, it's also clearly finding what isn't worth taking a penalty over and what might have a little bit of pressure and consequence, because you're going to see right away, well, it wasn't worth that. Okay, but the other side of it is, maybe I unlock new passion or focus or point of value that I wasn't aware of. I'm creating novelty and direction in my life, if even for a week. Okay, that's one possibility. And a third possibility is this. I didn't roll the thing that I gave a 4 out of 6 to, but that was what I thought was most meaningful. Now I'm challenged because does that thing still need to happen no matter what? And I still have to do what I rolled because, hey, I'm committed to the process. So do I have to do both? Because it's still meaningful. And I was aware of the importance and the meaning of it. So now do I just not do it because I rolled something else? Or do I say, well, you got to move it forward because you've already decided it was the most meaningful thing you could have rolled for the week. All this stuff starts to come out and unravel, and you start to realize that, okay, there are consequences if I fail doing something. And so if I'm going to fail, make it something meaningful. So it starts to filter meaning from non-meaning organically over the coming week. We're going to get into this a little bit more in the next video. But all this stuff comes up, and it doesn't take coaching or insight. I am resourcing from within. How? I see what comes up on the die, and immediately my body goes, or it goes, it's felt, it's known. I already knew. But this helped me distill that into a point of action. Now, if you're serious about this path, the roll takes us into the next phase, implementation. You have to do what the dice says without committing to what comes up on the die. You are not in the game. This is not a one-week novelty. This is going to carry on for several weeks, and over each week, we distill and filter even more because we start to learn somatically, organically, consciously through the process what truly matters and what doesn't. And this is how we take somebody from uncertainty and a lack of clarity into true momentum toward meaningful things. Tell me that isn't incredible. It's incredible. In the next video, we're going to talk about implementation. Boom, you can find that video right here. If you haven't seen the first video in sequence, you'll find it somewhere. It's called The Filter. I might even have a link. So next video, boom, to this side, to my left on implementation. Video to my right, if you're already interested in more in what does this world of somatics have to do with coaching and dicing and meaning and the stuff that Tom just ranted about, I did a masterclass on this, our particular approach, the Somatic Skins framework. You can find my masterclass on this side. And otherwise, let's keep rolling, baby. I'll see you in the next video for implementation.